Hello and welcome to the Mal&Johnny Show. Well, just like the rest of the country and the rest of the world, we've been thinking about the loss of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And I think I've been surprised, and also my kids, because they're in their 30s now. They know all about the Queen. She's been there all of their lives. And they were surprised by how emotional they got by seeing the pictures, by the whole event.
Yeah, it is emotional. I mean, I remember, I'm older than you, and I was only little, but I remember the old king dying.
No.
I remember the Queen's coronation. There was a big street party in my granny's street.
Right.
I was about 3 or 4, but I remember it. I was there. You know what I mean?
You were there. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
Because for the rest of us, singing God Save the King is, well, maybe starting to get a bit more normal, but
yeah.
For all of the rest of our lives, it's been God Save the Queen. So what do you remember about the party and about this street party? Because everybody got involved in those days.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody was a royalist, weren't they, in those days?
Well, exactly. I mean, they closed all of the street off completely. In Plantagenet Street in Cardiff,
right.
And everybody had a table out, so the table stretched the whole length of the street, and everybody brought food, and everybody was, in those days, it was a community. You knew everybody in the street, and it was just a lovely big party,
Yeah, bunting.
And I remember that.
Oh,
yeah.
Whoa. Okay, so did you? Well, you wouldn't have got to see the king, I suppose. You were too little to see him.
I'd seen things. Well, we didn't have a television in those days either. Right. I remember vaguely when it was the coronation. People were either buying television sets to see it, or they were standing outside shop windows.
Rediffusion, radio rentals, whatever it was called.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so obviously a lot of entertainers have been involved with the royal family over the years. What about you? Have you ever done a show for any of the royals?
Not me personally, but Olwen, my wife, she was asked, because she's from Carnarvon, she was asked to sing a Welsh folk song in the turret of Carnarvon Castle for Prince Charles when it was the 10-year investiture, from the investiture. Yeah. He'd been there for 10 years. And she told me it was freezing. I was doing the summer season in Clacton at the time. So she was doing a royal show and I was in Clacton. I mean, This
is before global warming, of course, isn't it? It used to be cold in the summer.
So she's up in his turret and it's freezing. And she said I'd have long johns on under my long dress because I was perished. And I'm trying to sing this folk song like Acapella.
Yeah.
And then the mics went down, so she couldn't even hear herself. But she did it anyway. But wait for this. Yeah. She had a note when she went to meet him, because they all had to line up afterwards. She had a nosebleed. So, because I don't know if it was the pressure of the cold air or meeting the prince. Yeah. I don't know.
Wow.
But I do remember that Cliff Morgan, who was the main guy who was arranging it all, told Olwen that when he spoke to Charles talking about Olwen, he said, "And who is the blonde Totty?" That's what he said. I said, "See, you could have been the Princess of Wales."
Oh, well done to her. What about as a kid then? Because obviously the Queen then became the Queen, and has been sort of forever. Did you ever see her sort of on her travels around Wales or around England?
Yeah, she used to do these tours and things. And when I lived in Caerphilly, my father had a pub in those days. He packed in show business. And she came through Caerphilly in the car. I don't know what it was about, some Welsh tour. It was in the 50s, late 50s. And us kids decided now we're going to run up through the woods, up to the Traveller's Rest, so we get there before the cortege, we can see her coming through, So that's what we did, We're all waving at the coach. But not many people turned out in Caerphilly to see her. My mother remarked on it. No. So I don't understand this, she said. There's not hardly anybody out. Yeah. But there we are, you see, not everybody's a royalist. What I think, I mean, I'm not per se a royalist. I just love all the pageantry. I think it's very important to the country. And I appreciate what the Queen did. She was a fantastic woman. I mean, when you think about it, for 70 years, she never put a foot wrong.
No.
I mean, it takes some doing, doesn't it?
Yeah, because me and you, Johnny,
we've done a few things we're ashamed of, but there you go.
And the world has changed so much. The way that she spoke. We know it was very clipped when she was very, very, very. I'm not saying she suddenly went sort of, Cardiff East or whatever, or Swansea West, but it definitely changed over the years because the world changed. Suddenly the Beatles are there, and it's not the big bands, because apparently she loved big bands and she loved jazz. I heard this week that she really loved Duke Ellington.
Well, that's not a bad choice, is it? I saw Duke Ellington when he came to Cardiff. He was fantastic. No, the thing is, I think she had quite an eclectic taste. She liked, apparently, Come Dancing was one of her favourite programmes. Because so, who knows? I don't know if she used to watch So Death Us Do Part. She probably did. We tend to think of them as some different being. They're only people in the end,
Absolutely.
with the same kind of emotions as us.
Yeah.
And they've got to be on their best behaviour all the time. It must be very trying,
Billy Connolly once said, it must be awful being the Queen. You just think, you go around everyone, and you think the whole world smells of new paint. Because...
That's right, yeah. My mother and father did a show for royalty once.
Oh, right.
They were on Ensign in the war. What's it stand for? Entertainment. Hang on. What's it for? Let's have a look.
Hold on.
What it stands for. I know what Win Jalvin said. Everything
sometimes awful.
Everything like something awful, right? there was something here. Hang on, what is it?
You got it.
Can't find it.
You got it.
Just, Entertainment National Service Association.
Right, they were members of that during the war.
It started in 1939.
Right.
For the war effort. And my parents were involved. My father was like grade 3 because he had flat feet and very short eyesight. So he couldn't go in the army.
Right.
So he went into Ensign instead. So it was my mother. I think they went together because she was a dancer and he was a musician. And they used to do all the camps in this country. People used to go abroad as well, wherever they were, France and Italy and so on. But they used to do all the big camps in Britain, like Biggin Hill and all those places. And they did one show for the old Queen Mary.
Oh, wow.
The Queen Mother's mother. Would you be the Queen Mother's mother? Yes, you would.
Queen's mother? Yes, grandmother.
The old...
Yeah.
I mean, she was very old, but she was there watching,
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Right, then so I think the first time I saw the Queen was 1969. Because it was the year of the investiture.
Oh, before you go on, 1969,
yes.
I did a show for the BBC called Croeso 69.
Right.
And we did it in the theatre in Newport. And it was me, Margaret Williams, Mike Stevens, Hylwyn Harve and Bryn Williams. And we did a song contest thing to celebrate the investiture. That's what I did. So I did do something.
Well, because it was a very big thing. Now, there's a lot of talk about it already because it's been announced that we've got a new Prince of Wales. But in '69, we were all very excited about the investiture in Cardiff Castle, and Swansea became a city. They announced that Swansea would be a city to celebrate the investiture.
I remember.
So she came to Swansea, and I think it was down the Leisure Centre, or maybe that was the Silver Jubilee. I just remember in a cart, and they used to have those big sort of glass backs. Do you remember that?
That's
it was
right,
Rolls Royce, so everybody could
bulletproof, probably.
Yeah, probably. But everybody have a good look. And so 50 years later, I went to Buckingham Palace. Did I tell you about this when I went to Buckingham Palace?
No, you didn't tell me this.
Well, I mean, I don't like to boast. Anyway,
I know you said about 1969 it was made a city.
Yes.
Because when I was in the Panto in 1969, in the Grand,
yes.
we used to sing, "It's about Swansea City once more." We had a song in the Panto all about it. You were up in
I went so 50 years later, it was to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Swansea becoming a city.
Yeah.
And I got invited somehow or another. People must have turned it down, so there were a couple of leftover places. Anyway, went up, it was lovely. And you go into this, I think it's going to be opened more and more. People can go there during the summer, but I think Prince Charles has got some ideas about opening more. King Charles has got more ideas. King Charles III. But they've got this massive gallery with all these paintings. And of course, some people have been there before, and there are some locals who will tell you who the different paintings are. You're all having canapes, and then they mingle amongst you. Various royals. They were all sort of like, I think they've been quite prepared on some of the people. And Sir Carl Jenkins, the maestro, was there, and who else? The Stereophonics were there because they'd been supported by Prince Charles with his Prince's Trust at the beginning. So a lot of very mixed batch. Sport, politics, entertainment, and me, and business. Yeah, did business. Yeah. Anyway,
did you shake hands with her?
Well, not with her. Not. I was in the line, sort of thing. My mom, and then we all went to the ballroom for a service, a celebration. And then when you say a ballroom, I mean it's enormous, absolutely enormous, massive, big sort of like big organ against the back wall. Anyway, we had the sort of notice, and I probably got it somewhere. I should have brought it up, but it's at the end it's got the national anthems of England and Wales, instrumental. It said, well, of course, Hen Wlad Van Had, you've got a room full of Welsh people. I mean,
They all started singing.
I stood up and started singing. It was like being back at the Arms Park in the old days. So that was quite funny.
I think it was Stan told me, but when you shake hands with the Queen, because you got the MV, they brief on what they have to do and so on, and she shakes your hand and then she does that with her hand, pushes it away. That means you had your time off it.
Off you go. Do
you know the lovely story of Tommy Cooper?
Oh God, tell me.
Tommy Cooper, everybody was aghast. He said, "Ma'am, do you like football?" She said, "No, not really." He said, "Well, do you mind if I have your ticket for the World Cup?" Or the FA Cup. I mean, and she laughed, because only Tommy Cooper would have the cheek to say that.
I mean, she must have seen. Well, she went to some shows, didn't she? Fair play. She went to. Some
do you know what I feel? I was looking at Charles today. Yesterday was it? Yeah, yesterday and today. And he's sitting there, and all these people are doing these eulogies and that. He must be completely exhausted.
Oh yeah.
And you could see he was sitting there, and he has to then reply to all these different people. But the thing is with the Queen, she transcended politics. I'm very sorry because you got a lot of nationalists about. You got people who want to be, what they call them, Republicans. But there's been no trouble, which is really good. Because she was above all that,
Well, they do say, just obviously we've all been doing a lot of reading about her life and seeing the stuff on the TV and the radio and things, is that, when she became queen, she was queen of the empire and the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Well, bit by bit, the empire has fallen apart and independence has come to various different countries. And they were saying it was a very dangerous time. Because normally when you leave an empire, I'm sure you can look back at the awful things that happened during the imperial time, but in a way managing to keep various different peoples together into a commonwealth, because you need lots of good people together, don't you?
Well, that's right.
I remember reading about her meeting Nelson Mandela, because he used to call her Elizabeth.
That's right.
Because he was a king and she was a queen. Apparently, he used to call her. But she was delighted that the South Africa had come back into the Commonwealth. And you never know whether these are talking shops. But if people are talking to each other, at least hopefully they're not killing each other. Eh?
Well, that's right. You know what I don't agree with? I don't agree with this retrospective apologies for things that happened hundreds of years ago. Because let's be fair, they happened a long time ago, and we've learned since then. And we don't do those things anymore. Yeah. It's like you want to say people, well, in other words, why don't the English apologise because of the Welsh not, try to stamp the Welsh language out. But that was hundreds of years ago. So you've got to forget and move on, haven't you?
I wonder what we, in 100 years' time, what they're going to think about what the things that we would do.
They'll ban Johnny Tudor.
I can't believe Johnny Tudor got away with it all those years. It's unbelievable. Okay, so actually we did one show for Prince Charles. It was at a place called Acapella. Catherine Finch, the harpist, was involved in Acapella, and he used to come down every summer. Prince Charles, King Charles, he used to come around and do a little tour, and they came to Acapella. And I remember getting the call. They saying, "Well, Prince Charles is coming to Acapella," and obviously we were doing some entertainment. I think, okay, well, I've just checked my diary. Is your daughter able to sing? It wasn't me. It was my daughter they wanted to sing. Unbelievable. But you know what? Yeah.
Did you ever meet Cleo Millward? She was a singer.
Oh, lovely Cleo, yes.
Well, I worked with Cleo, and her father taught Charles to speak Welsh, see?
Oh, Ted.
He did the Ulpan course in Aberystwyth, I think, and he taught him. Yeah. Because he had to do a speech. I felt sorry for him, but he got through it. He did okay. I'm just wondering if he'll do it again. When he does his speech in Cardiff, he's coming... doing the rounds, isn't he? At the moment, he's in Northern Ireland. Yeah. When he comes to Cardiff, perhaps next week, will he do a little Welsh bit?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, we are sad because, on my personal level, I lost my mum. 2 months ago, she was 98, and I know the pain that families go through when that happens, because we're orphans now. Me, Charles. That's right. And you...
I'm an orphan as well. I'm always an orphan.
No, it's awful. It's awful being an orphan.
You know what? Things you can't do. There's things I want to ask my mother and things my father would know, and they're not there to ask. Yeah. And there's nobody of that era to ask. Yeah. It must be the same for them, mustn't it?
Well, no, they've got the records. They're all. All they're going to do is switch on the TV, Johnny. The last couple of days, they'll see them all. I mean, last memories then. Queen Elizabeth, your last thoughts about Queen Elizabeth II, God rest her soul.
Well, my memory of it, this is a moment in history that we won't forget. Somebody's lasted 70 years on a throne. Yeah. Whether you are a royalist or whether you're not, it's a historical moment.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important I love the pomp and circumstance. I see in the paper that everybody's coming, people like Hirohito from Japan and every king you can think of, but they haven't invited Donald Trump. And they haven't. No, and the what's his name? The Russian.
Vladimir Putin. Yeah. And they've got to go by bus, haven't they? There's so many of them apparently.
He's going to go nuts in these. Because what's his name? Because he's half Scottish.
Oh boy! All right. Look, well, we have paid our respects to Queen Elizabeth II. Whatever you think about royalty, she was a remarkable woman. It's a time, Prince Charles would have to live to be 140, wouldn't he, to equal her record? Yeah. So
it'll be a long time before something happens like this again, and something very tragic happens to William earlier. Otherwise, you're never going to get somebody the last 70 years, are you?
No, exactly. So we'll remember it. We'll remember talking about it on the Mal and Johnny show. And
that's right.
And as always, Johnny, lovely to speak to you. And I expect after this we'll probably get an invite to do a Royal Variety Command performance. I would have thought.
I got to tell you one funny thing.
Yeah.
Dorothy Squires never did a variety for a performance.
Oh, no.
So when she booked the Palladium, she booked Jeanette Charles, the woman who used to do the impersonation, and sat her in the box. That's lovely, isn't it?
if you're not invited, have your own royal.
But she did get what's the woman who used to write all the books about love? What's her name?
Oh, Barbara Carter.
Barbara Carter. She did get Barbara Carter. She's a friend of hers because she used to go to her house for dinner, and sometimes somebody would be there, Lord Mountbatten. Yeah. So she used to hobnob with him, and when she had the horses. Amazing.
All right, well, it's goodbye from Johnny Tudor.
And it's God Save the King from me.
God save the King.
The King. And it's not Elvis Presley either.
See you soon, bye.
Ta-da.